Is Robert coming?
No.
No, okay.
Good evening, everybody. This is the Carver Zoning Board of Appeals. It's about 1 or 2 minutes after 7 p.m. on the evening of February 12, 2019. We are in Carver Town Hall in room number 4, and we are being filmed as usual by Area 58. We're happy to have them present, and we hope that everybody in town who has an interest in municipal business tunes in. We have a number of cases tonight that we need to get to, but first of all, as usual, we'll address administrative issues, and the first of these is our meeting minutes of January 15, 2019. These minutes have been distributed to board members already, and I ask each of them now for any comments that they'd like to make with regard to these meeting minutes, any amendments, changes, or modifications. Everybody okay?
That's good. Yep.
Okay, I think I hear affirmatives or see nods in the affirmative from everybody, so I would ask for a motion.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So these meeting minutes of January 15, 2019 have been approved and will become part of the official record of that meeting. We have 3 public hearings tonight, and I, in my exercise of discretion as chair, will jump to letter D on that particular agenda for this evening. This is a continued public hearing, continued from January 15, 2019. It's case number 24-4A, the petitioner being David Mulcahy, DBA Oh Dear South Shore, P.O. Box 340, Kingston, Mass. The petitioner is requesting a variance pursuant to Section 5222 and Section 2230 of the Carver zoning bylaw for property located at 157 North Main Street in Carver, Assessors Map 24, Lot 4A, to construct an addition to the rear of a pre-existing non-conforming residence in a highway commercial district, said addition for the purpose of an office and the storage of business materials. Wow, that's a mouthful. For the record, we have had, I think, up to this point, 3 hearing dates for this particular petition, and evidence has been taken on the merits with regard to this. We had a vigorous discussion with regard to this particular petition last time on January 15, and at this point, I don't see the petitioner or the petitioner's legal counsel present, but we have received a request via letter from the petitioner's counsel to be allowed to withdraw this matter with prejudice. Now, keeping that in mind, during our meeting of January 15, we reached out to town council and asked for some guidance with regard to withdrawals with and without prejudice, whether we could go to the merits on this particular matter, and that opinion from town council has been distributed to each of the board members tonight. Does everybody have their copy? Yes? So I'm wondering at this point whether anybody would like to make a motion to find that under the facts of this case, the petitioner does not qualify as a tradesman under the definition listed for tradesmen under Article 6 of the Carver zoning bylaws. I don't hear anybody taking up the the argument on that. So, does anybody want to be heard with regard to this petition?
I think it should be noted for the record first that there'll be 4 voting members on this case. Mr. Germain will not be voting on this.
I think that the petitioner did send a letter indicating that he had no objection to our new alternate, but I think at that point the new alternate was Mr. Barr,
yeah.
or Mr. Burr.
Yeah.
So Mr. Germain's comments have been welcome throughout this particular petition, and I know he maintains an interest in this case, but Ms. Clark's point is germane and there will be 4 voting members this evening.
It's with a J.
No, Chairman Gray, if I understand Attorney Corbo's email to be correct, if I'm reading it correctly, it says that we can make a determination on the merits and then vote to allow the withdrawal with prejudice, correct?
Yes, except this is an email from Attorney Quizell, copied to
Okay.
Attorney Corbo, both very competent attorneys for KP Law, which is the town council for the town of Carver. To answer your question, that's how I read it, yes.
Okay. And so we could vote as a board, or we could make a motion as a board, that we do not consider him to fall under the tradesman, craftsman definition for the town of Carver, and allow him to withdraw with prejudice.
That's how I read it.
Okay. And what does that do to his case?
He's done here
He's done here.
for at least 2 years.
I would like to make a motion that, based upon the testimony taken and the merits of the case, that this board finds that he does not qualify as a craftsman's tradesman
Under the definition
under the definition
in Article 6.
in Article 6.
Okay, let's leave it at that for now, and then we'll add on to that as we see fit. That was what I led with. Maybe I went too fast. Does anybody have any discussion with regard to the motion that is proposed by Ms. Mello? First, I should ask for a second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I think we should clarify the fact that the discussion based on the merits is that the zoning board cannot grant a use variance. And
That's
that was-
coming up next.
You didn't let me finish.
Sorry. I'm anticipating where I think you're going to go with this.
I only wanted to make the point that our determination is based on, or possibly based on, the fact that because of the highway commercial district where the property is located, he was asking for a use variance in order to meet the craftsman tradesman special permit.
I agree. Your point is well taken. Any further discussion with regard to the motion on the floor?
No.
So again, that motion is that based upon the facts and testimony taken in this case, the board is being asked to make a finding that the petitioner does not fall under the definition of craftsman tradesman as that term is defined in Article 6 of the Town of Carver zoning bylaw. And that motion has been seconded by Mr. Mueller. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So that's a unanimous finding. Now, I believe with Ms. Clark's assent that there should be a second finding, and that is that this board does not have the authority to grant use variances under the Town of Carver zoning bylaw based upon Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 10. And I suggest that because the only way for this petitioner to get his needed relief before this board, if we have found, as we have now, that he doesn't qualify as a tradesman or craftsman, is to grant him that use variance. So do we have some discussion around that issue?
I think based on the legal opinion that we got from Copeland and Page in October, I'd have to look up the exact date, which determined that this was indeed, they were indeed asking for a use variance, October 30th, 2018. They were indeed, petition required a use variance, and it is not something within the purview of our authority to grant. It's not in our bylaws, the authority is not in our bylaws, and therefore we had no authority over this case.
I might put it just slightly different. I might say that we have authority, but we don't have the power to grant a use variance.
Okay,
Does anyone have any further questions or comments or points of discussion with regard to this? And if it seems I'm going fast through this, it's because we've had 3 hearings already on this, so we're all pretty familiar with the legal issues at this juncture. Does anybody want to make a motion with regard to the issue of the board not having the authority to grant use variances under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A and Section 10, and under the current Carver zoning bylaw?
I'll make that motion.
Anybody want to make a second?
second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to allow the petitioner to withdraw with prejudice?
I'll make a motion to allow the petitioner to withdraw with prejudice.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on this issue? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, my understanding is that the planning board has a concurrent case on these very same issues that is being taken up this evening. Is that true?
It's being continued.
It's being continued.
Yes.
So I was going to suggest that if that matter were going to go forward tonight upstairs, that it would be incumbent upon one of us to go up and advise the
I'll
planning
be
board.
happy to, but I think I just heard Mr. Cirque say something about it's being continued. They've asked for continuous, but I can run up and let them know that we've dealt with it and it was withdrawn with prejudice. If you'd like me to do that, I'll run up.
Do you think it's necessary for us to do that?
They did announce earlier when I was there that that matter was going to be continued.
I thought it was too.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. So I'll be happy to inform the planner at the end of this meeting.
Okay. And again, I think what should be mentioned to the planner is that this board made a specific finding that this petitioner did not fall under the definition of tradesman craftsman, and further, that there is no provision in the Carver zoning bylaw to allow use variances.
Okay.
These are serious and significant findings. I think we all agree on that.
And this will
That's
be
your
a
job.
decision that will be written up
Yes,
and filed with the case.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And that's something that they should be advised of as well.
Okay. And he was withdrawn with prejudice.
Yeah, that was the third
Yep.
vote that we took.
I'll inform Stephen Cole, the town planner.
Yep, but
at
the
end of
first
this
two vote,
meeting.
the first two votes are important for them to know.
Yep. I'll see to it.
And thank you, everybody, for your cooperation as we've slogged through these legal opinions and cross-currents on this case. Okay. Now we can go on to new business. And so we'll go back to the agenda in its current order. So we will call next public hearing, case number 58-1-10. The petitioners are Sean and Allison Patton. Hello there, good evening. 19 Leland Way in Carver. The petitioners are requesting a special permit pursuant to sections 2260 and 2262 of the Carver zoning bylaw for property located at 19 Leland Way in Carver. That's Assessor's Map 58-Lot 1-101R, in order to allow an accessory apartment in excess of the allowable 800 square feet. The total proposed space is 950.5 square feet, so you're looking for 150.5 feet beyond what's allowed. And this property is located in a residential agricultural district. Again, good evening. Nice to see you both. And this is a bylaw with which this board is very familiar. And we've addressed this bylaw in many other settings, in many other cases. So if one of you would like to speak to us about what you'd like to have done, and maybe refer to any plans that you'd like to take us a look at, have us take a look at, now's the opportunity.
Yeah, so we're looking to add on to our house to build this accessory suite as an in-law apartment for my parents who are looking to retire, move closer to home, closer to family. And
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman? Maybe it'd be good to have them come up so that the microphone can pick up this conversation.
Would you like to come up, or you're more comfortable
I'm not
there?
trying to put you on the spot, but it's recorded for a reason.
Just, if you could just stand there wherever you're comfortable.
Yeah, it'll pick it up from here.
And that way they can hear our questions and your responses.
so I'm just gonna read the notes that I wrote then. So we were looking to request permission to build an oversized accessory apartment on our property, onto our home. The excess space of 150.5 square feet. We wanted to build this space to add on a one-bedroom in-law suite for my parents so they can retire there. The plans that we have will allow for them to comfortably age with current medical conditions and foreseeable medical needs in the future, so they can live comfortably and safely. The space is gonna be planned to be handicap accessible and allow for any medical equipment and needs that they may need in the future, and just comfortable living, so.
Let me just ask you a couple of quick questions, and I'm going to turn it over to these nice people. How old are your parents?
66 and 68.
And do they have any medical conditions? I think I heard you
Yes.
talk about that.
Yes.
Can you tell us very generally what those medical conditions might consist of?
So one of the two of them has some neurological, degenerative, progressive disease.
Affects ambulation?
Yep, ambulation and cognition. And then the other one is just arthritic issues, but the bigger of the two would be the neurological disorders.
Okay.
So foreseeable needing medical equipment and help, which we would help, moving in with us is helpful because I'm an occupational therapist. I can help them in the future with their.
This is new construction for the,
Got a plan?
Yeah.
this accessory, is it new construction? Do you have an accessory in there now?
No, it's new construction.
Okay.
Highlighted. The accessory isn't highlighted on the plans.
Do you have a floor plan of the accessory setup?
It's all
They can-
copies there, and I have more copies.
But is this included?
So it's,
Accessories on the back.
yeah,
It's
that's,
only the addition is
Just-
the,
We don't have a thing.
Yeah, floor
We need a
plan.
can you come up here and also be part of this?
Yes.
So
It's only the building off the back.
Yeah, so there's some of it is not,
950 square.
This is a single story.
So, what we have, let me just show you the front layout. Where are we? Here we go.
I think we can figure it
So
out.
it's the original house, so it's only this. I wanted to highlight that for you.
Okay.
So you can see that there's no separate doorways. They have to go through our house.
What is this, the second floor?
This is the second.
I don't need that.
Yeah, For
oh,
our side.
thank you.
That's the second floor.
but that's not their
Eric's got the
space.
first floor where it's going.
So there's anything, that's not their space, this is your space, right? Yeah. So, I don't want,
No, that's it.
is that side, like,
They're gonna
side
add this
view?
room for themselves.
This is front view,
And then this is the.
Or- Okay, okay. All right.
side view. So it's this space.
So it's single-level living for them,
It's
right?
One
Yeah.
floor, no stairs. It's
No
yeah.
stairs, we have a ramp, do you need a ramp?
Not,
Is that-
not currently,
not
but
really?
We don't need to do that.
in the future could have if needed, yes.
Yeah.
This is,
This is the area
Yeah, do you have a
Yeah,
floor
so
plan
this is the
of the space?
Yep.
yeah, read that, so, wait.
Where are they moving from?
Milford, Mass.
This is what I want my daughter to do for me.
Good luck. These guys are one and a third. I did it for my mother.
Did
We
you?
have
Yeah.
plans drawn up by an architect, but these are the plans he told me to submit, but they don't highlight the actual in-law suite, so It's actually only this section here, which I
And we'll-
apologize.
Will this be accessible from your house?
Yep.
The main dwelling, it'll be
Through
accessible?
our
Okay.
house.
Through the.
Through
our
there,
house,
and then through the garage.
And through the garage,
Yeah.
okay.
So they don't have their own door.
So some of this addition is
don't
gonna
have-
be for your use
Yes,
too?
yes.
Most of it.
Okay, that's where I'm getting.
Oh,
confused.
okay,
It's
so-
a big addition.
That's where I'm looking at, it, I'm saying, wait a minute, the
No.
addition's twice the size of
We
what you
are.
have now.
Oh, so
We're adding on.
you're adding on a
for
family
ourselves.
room?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
But we're only here.
One guy at a time. Okay, Ms. Clark?
Ellen and I were thinking that this size was a big space, but this right here is the single-family addition, and you're adding, you'll see from your plans, they're adding a family room and kind of like a breezeway.
Yep.
Yep,
Like
the
a
garage, we don't
breezeway,
care.
mud room, yes.
So, but for your living
us.
space, for part of the addition, it's going to be a family room, which is also going to be
I don't know if they counted
accessible,
that.
so
That
your
comes off.
doorway
It's on
into,
theirs,
is a shared space, the shared doorway is right here.
28 square feet.
Okay.
Depending
I'm
on
sorry, I
size.
sent 13 plans of all of these to the board. You-
We don't get them all,
You don't
they
get
go
them?
to the Board of Health, they go
Okay, I'm
to the
Ellen,
fire
can you
department.
send those files down to me? And anything else that's over there?
I don't know.
We're not supposed to get them
Right,
all.
that's the plan.
Thank you.
Looks, and a handicapped accessible bathroom, so a big
Yes.
bathroom.
That their whole space is designed to be handicap accessible, yeah.
Sir,
Nicely done out.
could I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If the variance we're looking for is an accessory apartment in excess of the 800 square feet,
Special permit.
what is the actual size of just the in-law? Because you're adding on for your own living space, which is not an accessory, am I wrong?
950.5 feet.
So just their apartment
Just the
is that
apartment is that
size?
size, and then
Okay,
you,
now
this-
we're getting on the same page.
okay, and then this is your own, as if you were adding on your
Just
own,
our own, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
for which you don't need any other kind of relief.
Do you know if he included, like, did he square this all off, or did he include this
I
closet?
had the building inspector, Bob Fisher, he's the one who did the calculations on the 150.5 square feet over, and he's the one who requested that I apply for the oversized accessory. So that's why I went through that route.
We're seeing a little more overage on some because handicapped accessible bathrooms take up a little more space, wider hallways take up a little more space, and more open living
Right.
take up a little more space, especially if they become physically challenged and they don't want a small hallway and they need to be able to move around safely.
And we're here to let you know that my in-laws live 50 miles away, and they want to move in with us, and we're okay with it. And they want to be near their 3 grandkids, and we're not looking to make a rental property out of it. There's no way you could do it, so.
That's the point of the in-law, is that by making it a common wall
Yeah.
and kind of a shared space, it can't really become a third-party rental.
And even the deck's kind of,
Full size.
Yeah,
so.
no, it's, well,
Thank you.
going on.
And it can become a son or a daughter that you can never get rid of.
True.
Thank you.
Or it could become us in the future in that in-law apartment.
And we-
Live, that's right.
And we're seeing some of that too.
These are the same one we got.
No, it's well drawn.
Hats off to you guys. I did it for my mother after my
Yes.
father passed away.
14 and
I know what
16,
you,
I can read it.
Yeah.
you try to do everything you can, to try to make everything comfortable, and you try to make it
14,
work.
16.
Right. They already look
It's a
to us
long
to
drive
help
to
them
get to
so
them.
much.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys can have a seat.
I have a
And,
question.
yes,
I see a access stairway to the downstairs from the in-law apartment. Is the downstairs going to be finished under their area?
Storage.
Storage?
There's no real storage set up for them in that.
Wing.
So it would just be storage.
do you need this?
Not too much for
Nope,
them.
these are all the same.
These are all the same.
This and this.
Yep, we have it.
16 or 6'9".
I also wanted
6
to
foot
make
nine.
known that I had got
Oh,
an
I'm
okay
sorry,
from the
18.
conservation department.
8, 9.
The neighboring Cranberry Bog
Say
is about
seven.
far enough away from Brooke, so she reviewed the plans and she was all
That's
set.
good information for conservation.
And this is 14,
Right.
that's not, that's 14.
So thank you for that clarification. Mr. and Mrs. Patton? And what we're doing now is we're calculating
It doesn't,
the dimensions to be sure that we have the right numbers, because sometimes they can be off a little bit.
30.
Notice that I'm not doing that
It's
because
the- So it would be.
I'm not mathematically inclined, which is why I went to law school and not medical school.
In this way,
So
This is 30.
yep.
That's
No.
probably-
we'll come up with a number, and if it's 950.5, that's the number we'll
I
go
would
with.
say that's probably.
Our architect added that one.
I can't hear you, what?
Our architect, Doug Friesen,
So
added
this-
120 square feet, but then
This-
the building inspector, Bob Fisher, measured, he said 150.5.
Would
so
be
that one's
the-
his.
18 plus 6, 9 by
Yeah, so that's 750.
the, okay. So then this is what you have left. This area here,
How long have you been in this property?
which would be,
This is our third year.
That's like the same.
I think we actually did I think a site visit on this
Would it be
one.
on
You want to do
I
something?
go
You want to do something?
No.
9,
No. you
I
want
think,
to.
I think we
9
did.
by,
Way
this
back.
is
Third.
30, but
Six.
Great.
Well, what is that? That's a stackable washer dry?
Yeah.
So
In the
it's kind of
back,
like-
right?
It's kind of out,
The
yeah.
one
it's the
that's
last
in the
one.
circle?
Yep.
4,
Up the hill?
take
Yep.
off 4,
It's kind of
It's like
big.
So good.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
26,
26,
You have a memory like an elephant.
260.
260.
I mean, you surround bogs out this way and,
I got 1,010. But,
I know the
yeah,
area.
take this off.
I lived in Carver for 38 years.
Then you take this area. It is off, right? So,
That's a long way. That's a big difference. That's 50. That's 18. And that's 6, 8, 9 inches.
you notice we're not doing the math plan on this one.
I see that, the number crunches are up
Yeah,
there.
they're always,
Do
this end of the table's never done the math.
7 times 2.
18,
turn that back to 750.
25 by 30.
We got the number?
Yeah, that's 750.
That's
He's working
750.
on it.
Well, we're still working on it because
Keep working.
Does it seem over or,
it seems over.
did you give the building inspector actual schematic plans? Do you have those?
All right, so this entire bath
Yep.
is 10. So here to here
Can't get the
is
numbers
10.
off of
Yeah, you
this.
can't get
Okay.
The actual plans.
6.
Where is 10?
So
From this
here-
wall
Yep,
to?
10.
To that wall?
Yep.
10, okay.
So 6 by, would be.
Our question is that we want to make sure that the number you asked for is the number you need.
26.
Um,
6 by 26.
So you submitted these plans to the building department?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's how they came up with the special. Yep, okay.
Bob Francis did this.
906?
906, 950 should be okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they're good. It's actually, that's a little bit
Oh,
over.
look, it's a bigger plan.
So,
Wait a minute, this is
Ms.
the real one. Hold on.
See, we may not do numbers down here, but we know where to
Oh, I
find.
got specifics on it. Just wanted to make sure.
I sat down.
if you guys could move off to the side so
And
the
that's the 30,
cameraman can get the board.
30, 18, and I said
18 and
7.
6, 9, yeah. So if you do it that, the only thing we have to, it's this bathroom area here. It's-
Oh, right
Yeah, but it's only half of it.
Do you want to take a quick,
So it's, that's the area you need to figure out.
Yeah.
Fran?
So the entire one is 10, but you take off of that tub, and
Which
that's,
is probably 4.
yep,
So
so
6.
6.
6 by
30 minus 4.
6 by 26, like you
Yep.
said.
Yep.
906. So 9.
They need, it's 906, so they need 106 square feet.
Yeah, because you're gonna lose some for the closet. That's not part of that. And then you also lose the staircase, which you take out of that square footage. So
It's off 50 feet.
44,
Should we
but
go a little bit?
I'm inclined to
Yeah,
go
I
with the building
The
inspectors.
9,
Yeah.
Chairman Grave, the 950 is gonna
It could
cover
be
it.
this closet.
I'd hate to go short on
Yeah.
them. They don't have to
You know, it's probably.
no,
this
because
closet.
that's not part of the, that's an access way. You can't utilize that staircase.
Okay. Ms. Mello suggests sticking with a 950.5.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's a good idea.
Okay.
Now, does anyone else have questions or comments or thoughts they'd like to add? I want to take you through our accessory apartment bylaw so that you understand what constraints might be on you in the event that this board grants you the relief that you have requested. You're going to be allowed this one shot at getting the square footage that you want, right? You're not going to be allowed to expand again after this. Who owns the house that you're in now? You must continue to occupy that house as your primary residence. Otherwise, what you're doing with the accessory is no longer an accessory to your primary residence. You follow? Any special permit that we might grant you for this more expansive accessory will automatically lapse if you no longer reside at the home. And you must provide a letter to the building commissioner, signed by each of you as owners of the property. You own as husband and wife. And this letter shall be, your signature shall be notarized on this letter. And it will say that you do live at the home and that it is your primary residence. Nothing fancy, just a paragraph saying, you know, to the building commissioner that this is our primary residence, we own it as husband and wife, tenants by the entirety, and that that the letter is submitted as part of the file relative to your request for the special permit. Okay? Now, the outside entrance that serves the accessory, where is that?
Front door.
This is going in the front, and then the accessories are on the inside.
Okay, because
They
our
have two.
bylaw says, any new outside entrance to serve an accessory apartment shall be located on the side or in the rear of the building, not in the front. Do you have one in the front?
Because it goes into our.
It goes into their
They
share,
have
it
to go
goes
into
into
the house
their space.
to get in.
But they have this in the back, right?
Yeah, that's in the rear. That's a second form of egress, I would guess.
So any new outside entrance to serve an accessory shall be located on the side or in the rear of the building. What you're saying is, to get to their accessory, you have to go through your front entrance. Is that right?
The garage on the side, the garage on the side.
Oh, yeah, they come in from the garage.
Oh, that's right, they come in from the garage. too.
Sure.
Okay.
The garage is the most likely.
They can come
All
right
right.
up a set of stairs and go right in,
Park
sure.
right there. Right.
And the accessory can only be occupied by 3 people.
I read that, yeah.
Now, do they still drive? How many cars do they own? Or how many vehicles? And you have a driveway that exists currently, is that true? Now, all parking to your home and for the accessory must be off-street. They can't park on the road, okay? And this permit is good for only 3 years. What do you do after 3 years? You come back and you submit a new notarized letter saying basically nothing has changed. And your accessory will be renewed, assuming that there haven't been any structural changes in the interim or any change in the occupancy of that accessory, which right now we're allowing for mom and dad, maternal mom and dad, right?
You don't go through the hearing process again, it's just a letter. Okay, so there's not, the cost of a hearing process.
Right, so that letter will say,
At 3 years.
At 3
Yeah,
years.
6 months in front is what we usually try to tell
Yeah.
people.
that letter will say, among other things, that it's still being used as an accessory, same folks, and that the accessory apartment has not been extended or enlarged or altered in any way structurally. And I would direct your attention to 2262 of the bylaws, and most especially, 2263 of the bylaws, which specifies what you're going to need to say when it comes time to renew that special permit. It's a easy process, and I don't think anybody's ever had to come back before us again after the 3 years, have they? Not that I can recall.
No, only when it's lapsed.
Right. So are you clear on the terms and conditions of the bylaws I just outlined for you? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
Good.
Do I hear a motion?
You should ask. You should ask the public.
Yes. Anybody here to make comment one way or the other about this petition? I see one person saying no, and I see all three people saying no. Thank you, Sharon.
Okay, now,
So, do I hear a motion?
I move we close the hearing.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to allow the special permit with the condition or the grant of the size being 950.5 square feet, which is 150.5 feet over the allowable limit
Per the plan submitted.
for the plan submitted? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So your special permit has been granted,
Okay.
and you get your 950.5 feet. Look at those smiles.
Here, just to tell you what happens now is this decision will be written up in the next week or 10 days. It'll be submitted to the town clerk to be filed. And then there's a 20-day appeal period where everyone on your butters list will get a copy of the decision, and that allows them 20 days to appeal it to Superior Court, saying somehow, we got this all wrong. After the 20 days, you'll come in and get a copy of the original from the town clerk, they'll call you, and you take the original copy to the Registry of Deeds for $75. They record it against your deed, bring a copy with you, have the copy time-stamped. When you take the copy back to the building inspector, they'll issue you a building permit. Or you can start the actual groundbreaking. And good luck.
And
It's-
the notarized letter that we have to have stating that we're doing this, that we are husband and wife living in this house goes
To the town clerk.
to the when? I just want to clarify that.
Sometime in the next week.
Yeah. Before you,
Is there property taxes up a little bit?
yeah, before you get your building permit.
That's what we
That's when all the Ts are crossed and Is are dotted.
You
Okay?
kiss that number goodbye, too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
Congratulations.
end of that party. Thank you. Good luck.
Good luck. Here, you
It's
can
a nice thing that you're doing.
Take your stuff.
I'll take this one, because I wrote all over it. But it's nice what you're doing. Speaking as a grandmother.
I think my son would put a tent in the backyard, maybe. Maybe. Not even sure about the tent.
I got my book off for
Pardon? You are, you're totally excused. You probably have a babysitter at home. Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
What is that?
Your parents raised a great daughter, by the way.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, we have another case.
This is recorded, you can make her watch it.
Public hearing on case number 75-31-AR, the petitioner being Rebecca Flaherty. Who is that? 66 Holmes Street, Carver. The petitioner is requesting a special permit pursuant to sections 2230 of the Carver zoning bylaw and 6.1 of the Town of Carver bylaws for property located at 66 Holmes Street in Carver, which is Assessor's Map 75, Lot 31-AR, to allow a commercial kennel on property that is less than 5 acres is required in a residential agricultural district. So, Ms. Flaherty?
How are you doing today?
I'm okay.
So I am asking, as you see, for a commercial kennel license for the purpose of dog breeding and training to basically for various jobs, service dogs, search and rescue dogs, some as pets. I have done quite a bit of research into it, so I do have a trainer that would like to work with me. I only have 1.2 acres, so I would need a variance of the 5 acres.
Well, you need a special permit.
Yeah,
What else?
dogs are my passion, and they're what I live for. I will have a count. I have gotten a building permit to be able to have a kennel on my side lot. The dogs will live in my house, and during training will live in the kennel at times. I don't really know what I should.
What's your breed?
Golden Doodles. That's what I'm working with right now. I do a lot of F1 and F2s, which is basically 50% golden retriever, 50% poodles. And I'm working on, the AKC is going to be, it looks as though they will be
Recognizing that breed?
recognizing as,
In other words, that doesn't show in Westminster yet, right?
right, exactly. I would like to I'm working towards bettering the breed also. Trying to work on, Goldens have a lot of cancer issues, hip issues, eye issues, elbow issues. With the Golden Doodles once they are AKC recognized, I could be able to help with that standard.
Okay. Anything further you would like to add? Because we'll have a few questions for
It
you.
might be easier. First off, we grant them the variance, the special permit comes from the planning board.
Is that how we phrased it?
I'm not sure, but
Requesting a
that's,
special permit pursuant to section 2230 of the Carver zoning bylaw and 6.1 of the Town of Carver bylaws,
we have to give her a variance from the 5 acres.
from the 5 acres, but she still
And
needs a
the-
special permit overall?
The commercial kennel has to be a special permit in front of the planning board. So it's a 2-step.
Okay.
Were you aware of that?
Not really, but I'm playing it as it goes at this point.
The planning board wouldn't schedule your hearing for a commercial kennel license until you had a variance from the zoning board for your space. They could grant you a special permit if you had 5 acres, then you wouldn't be here, but you have to be here first. And then you have to present for site plan review, which is a whole other set, but that's the
They've
planning
given me
board.
all that and then said I didn't need any of it. And
Okay, well,
got rid of all that, so
you'll be talking to Stephen Cole.
yes, I will be, because
Yeah.
he's who I started with.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start. How many dogs do you currently have?
Currently, I have 2. I had 3. One just passed away.
Are these breeders?
No, the 2 that I have right now are my children's pets, my pets.
And what are they?
I have an American Bulldog and a Husky, a Siberian Husky.
Okay. And you want to start breeding golden doodles?
Yes, I do currently work for someone that's breeding, and he's been mentoring me.
Okay, and how many will you put in-house?
In-house, it'll vary between 5 and 7 for me at least.
Well, the commercial kennel is over 11.
Correct.
Um,
In-house, but.
And a
also
hobby
during-
kennel is 6 to 10.
Right, but with the training involved, they'll be over 4 months old. So if they're over 4 months old, if the ones that I am breeding, the ones that I'm training, I would have 6 females that I work with, and I have females, but they are at a different location. And the training dogs, it would mean that I could only have 4 dogs training at any given time.
For 4-month-olds,
4 over the age of 4 months old.
over the age of 4 months. And would these be other people's dogs, or will these be
No.
puppies from your litter?
These would be puppies from my litters.
So puppies from your litter, so you would keep them and train them and then
And then they-
sell them?
Well, they would be home with, as I said, service dogs, so yes, I guess you can.
You'd sell them. So I'm just trying to get a fix of how you see, I mean, do you see having 1 stud, 2 studs, 6 bitches? How do you see in-house, I mean, and then 4 litters a year is what you're limited to?
With the commercial, it's 4 or more.
4 more, you're right.
So, because I do F1 and F2, I need to have at least 1 female golden and 1 male golden.
Okay,
1 female poodle, 1 male poodle. And that also limits me to when I'm breeding. If I have 1 female poodle and 1 golden stud, I can't vary them. But I also want to have a golden doodle and a golden doodle, female and male.
to do an F2.
Right.
Yep.
So, sorry.
I know.
It's complicated, isn't it?
It's very
It is.
complicated. There's a lot of-
But you have no dogs other than pets
As of right
on
now,
site right
correct.
now. So, what's your plan? I mean, are you gonna be procuring these, the males and females? Where are they gonna live? How, are you breeding them on site?
I would breed on site.
Anyone else?
I'm still trying to
thinking.
get a feel, I'm trying to get a feel for what is the most amount of dogs you would have on site at any time?
What I'm looking for is a license for 20 dogs, 2 of which being mine, and that would leave me with the 6 that I have as breeders, and then I'll be able to train more.
And these dogs would range, 20 dogs ranging in age from puppies
To
through your adult dogs?
That's a lot of dogs. There's going to be a lot of barking.
Well, the golden doodles.
It's a lot of dogs.
Yes.
When you talk about 20 dogs, are you talking about 20 adult dogs? Or are you talking about six breeders, 3 and 3?
Yeah, 6 to 8 breeders,
6 to 8 breeders.
and then That would leave 10 open spots for.
So 10 open spots, and they usually have
They
6 to 9 puppies, if not more,
Yeah.
at a time. Do you have any, what's your background or experience in dog husbandry?
I have, I started dog grooming when I was 14.
Okay.
I've been in rescue since, God, I can't remember, probably around the same age. I've done a lot with rescue, excuse me. And I've found that, like, yes, rescue dogs are amazing, they are. But with the betterment of the breeds that we do have, and baggage is a big thing.
I do rescue, so I know what you're talking about.
So, I'm sorry, I totally just lost my train of thought.
Well, we were talking about how many dogs you were going to have on site.
Yeah.
How many puppies? Are you going to stagger your breed? Are you going to have, you know?
Yes, breeding would be staggered.
And as far as your experience with breeders, I mean, breeding is a very tricky thing.
Yeah.
Have you been mentoring with somebody?
Yes,
Do you
I
work
have.
closely with a vet
One of
right
my
now?
mentors is here.
Do you work closely with a vet?
Yeah, we work with, why can't I think of it?
Abington Animal
There we go.
Hospital.
Okay.
Well, they're a good place.
Yeah.
Ellen, what questions do you have?
I have a couple of questions, and I'd like everybody to get what they want and succeed in what they try to do, so don't take this the wrong way. I also live next door to a very obnoxious set of dogs that go off every 20 minutes like Big Ben. So, that being said,
I think Big Ben only goes off every hour.
oh, I'm sorry. It must be the new half-hour thing. 1.2 acres on a 5-acre requirement. I think I'd be concerned, and I would like to see where the house is situated on that lot in relation to where's the nearest neighbor. How far away is the next door neighbor? And have these neighbors been notified? Do they know what you're trying to do?
It should be, and I actually have letters, I went to all of my neighbors, all of my butters.
Oh, here it
And,
is. This it?
Yep.
Yes, that should be it.
She has attached probably about 10.
Yep, I have all of the butters that were notified, I went and talked to, because I don't want to be a nuisance to them.
These are the direct abutters?
These are my direct butters, yes.
Did you tell them you were gonna have potentially 20 dogs?
Yep.
Because the problem's gonna come when the complaints start rolling in, and I certainly, and you would never stand here and expect them either, until they do. And then it's like, now what? And now it becomes a big problem. And it's not like we're on 4 acres and we're looking for a 1 acre variance.
Right.
We're looking for
Property
a
right
sizable variance from the required codes. And yet to say no is mean and not letting you do what you want to do. And I'm not in favor of that, don't misunderstand me. I just want to make sure that, I'm on a couple of other committees in town, and the biggest priority is the residences. And it's the abutters as well as the petitioners. Because if it was reversed and it was your next door neighbor, you'd want it to be as fair
Right.
to your needs as it would be to the person applying for the petition. So that was my question as to how far away is the nearest house. Other than the fact that you're going on your experience with this, I don't know how loud these dogs are when they get howling,
I
but
do have things that I've already put into my designs, so as to keep the noise level down.
Let's talk about the design. What are you intending to construct?
this is the kennel.
So, right now, I have a permit for it, but a 24 by 14 building that is insulated, heated, there's electricity that'll be going to it, that will have kennels inside of it with runs that go off each one.
Space for how many dogs in that?
Space for 11.
Do you have a plan or a drawing or
That would
something?
be.
It says. When it says existing stall, do you have a horse stall back there?
Yes, there's a stall right here that's 10 by 10.
And that's going to be torn
I can
down
get you,
or
let me grab the bigger one.
bigger than this?
I didn't have that. Oh, I did have it.
It
was in the back.
Why do I have it?
It was in the
I'd
back.
like to know what we're doing with the waste.
Ask her.
60 to 50.
Awesome.
Round two.
Good to see your plan.
You got it.
You ask, you get it. What do you
Oh,
tell you?
yeah.
So, this is what I have so far. So there's space.
This is the front.
This will be the
is the
front. There's the door.
How big are the stalls?
The stalls inside are 4 by 4.5, and the outside is between 4.5, about 4.5 feet wide and 10 feet long. Also, it'll be surrounded by chain link, so that I can safely take all the dogs can.
Stalls.
If a dog was to get out of the kennel, they would always be confined inside chain link, no matter what.
Is the perimeter of your property fenced?
No, but that's the next thing to come in the spring.
Okay, so
So that will be fenced also, correct. So around the kennels themselves, where the dogs go out just to like the bathroom in the morning, there will be stockade fence around that. If that does not do enough, there'll be insulated foam board put on the inside of that to bounce back the sound. There'll also be a sound system to kind of drown out the noise around them so that they don't react as much to a
What do you
toy
mean a
breaking.
sound system?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean a sound system?
A radio with speakers outside.
Oh,
And
What is the
To
lighting
serve
around
to
there?
serve the
I'm sorry?
What are you doing for illumination, lighting?
for lighting outside,
Yeah.
as I said, there'll be electric. We're gonna put spotlights outside at night. Outside, you don't really need them, but
so you have very benign motives here, but there's also a profit motive, is there not?
there is. There
Otherwise,
always
you wouldn't
is
be
for
doing
anything
this.
you do.
Right? It's got to be worth your while. It's a lot of work. And so you want to improve the breed, you want to see dogs healthy and thrive and show in Westminster, but you want to make some money at it as well. Is that fair?
That's fair.
What other questions or comments do board members have?
What are we gonna do about waste
Yeah.
and smell?
It's gonna be-
Waste will be removed daily,
Okay.
twice a day.
Urine?
It will be rinsed down to the best of my ability. I will have I will dig a drainage ditch all the way around it, and basically, it'll drain into the ground after it's rinsed.
It'd be like a doggy latrine.
Sure.
Where do you dispose of the solids?
Solids will be removed. They goes into a trash bag, and I will have a dumpster. During the winter, it's not really a huge deal to have it dumped once a week. During the summer, depending upon the temperatures, I don't want the smell of my property either. It will be removed very often.
Now, are you going to have anybody helping you with this? Because 20 dogs, if we decide to go that high, is a lot of dogs. You're going to be busier than a cranberry merchant.
Yes.
So who else is going to be involved?
Well, the biggest person is my husband. Unfortunately, he's a firefighter, so he's at work tonight, so he couldn't come. I do have a few of my friends that we've discussed it. They would like to work for me, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves before I even have some permission.
Right. Because this is it's a big enterprise. And again, your motives are benign, but you want to make sure that you're not biting off more than you can chew either,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
For yourself, for the sake of your family, and for the sake of the animals that you love.
No, I totally agree with that. And even if I did get it for 20 dogs, that doesn't mean that there would always be 20 dogs at my house. There has to be a balance. I'm not going to be able to, if there's not a balance, I'm not going to be able to do what I love. I'm not going to be able to, again, better the breed. I'm not going to be able to do that if I don't find some sort of balance. Would I like a 20 dog license? Yes, I would. Does that mean I'm going to be full all the time? Absolutely not. That's not feasible.
Granting that license.
Well, what if a mother has like 9 in the litter?
Yeah,
And you already have like 12 dogs in there, then you're gonna be over 20 in no time, or close to 20 in no time.
If they're under 3 months old, they don't count towards the license.
But
That's
if they're 4 months, they do.
correct.
So you may
but
still have most
not
of that
all
litter
them
at 4
will-
months. You don't
not
wanna
all.
separate the dogs from the mother that young either, do you?
8 weeks old is when we
Yeah.
separate, and I wouldn't separate before then, that's
Right.
not ethical.
I mean, if you have big litters, who knows?
Not all of the puppies will go into the training program.
Some of them we sold.
They'll be sold, yeah.
Is this a training program that you would charge the owner for?
No,
So you would just pick the best and the brightest out of the litter and train them for how long and to what end?
it would depend on the dog. Some of them may start their training and they're not gonna work as a service dog, or they're
Okay.
not gonna work as a search and rescue, and then they would be homed. You know, so when it comes to the showing aspect, if and when I get into the showing aspect of it, you know, they don't all make the cut,
Right.
essentially.
And do you have certification in training service dogs?
No, I have a very close friend of mine that, again, would like to join me on this venture. And if I do get it, he would be doing the training.
And he's certified in?
Yes.
In training, so
Yeah.
you would have an employee of sorts?
Of sorts,
Okay. But he would be involved only in the training?
yes.
Okay. Okey-dokey.
And the placement of the service dogs.
Okay.
Ms. Clark, do you have a request?
I do. Not knowing much between the difference between 1 acre and 5 acres, I'd like to do a site visit.
Well, as we all know up here, if one member requests a site visit, then we all
We all
go,
go.
right? And I think Ms. Clark's suggestion is well taken. So we'll agree on a date and pay a visit to your property, right? If it's in the morning, make sure you have coffee and donuts. If it's later on, make sure you have pizza. A beer would be nice. In any event.
Yeah, you're with the big time now. I would have, you know, if you could just, you don't have to just
Yeah,
walk,
stake
just
it out,
stake 4
mark it up.
stakes. Just give us an idea.
Gives a visual, just so it's a little bit easier.
4
And
stakes.
since I know
yeah.
you're 4 stakes,
4 stakes on the kennel, and then 4 stakes for the
I
pen.
have the,
oh,
Did you
right.
hear that, Rebecca?
the shed walls up already.
Well, oh, okay.
So
And
the
then the,
actual,
4 stakes for the kennel and 4 stakes for the pen.
Okay.
the entire.
Were you planning on any boarding or commercial boarding? No, you wouldn't be taking in any other dogs?
Nope.
And, because I think that's an aspect of a commercial kennel license. But that would be up to the planning board to decide. Okay.
So I asked board members when they might be available to do this visit.
Can I say something about this data?
Sure.
As far as her counting and her abilities, her kennel is also going to offer a lot of opportunities for some of the kids in the community to see these dogs being trained. Her ability to be able to work with the kids, show the kids how to properly care for dogs, how to properly maintain dogs. She's done it with my own children. My own children have gone to her other kennel that she's working with, her mentors, and has seen phenomenal things with Rebecca. My kids have learned a lot from Rebecca in this county and her process of being able to do that. So I would say in her favor that Rebecca does care generally for these dogs, generally, and cares about proper care for these dogs. She's taught my kids more than I could teach my kids about a dog. I've actually received a rescue dog from Rebecca, and that dog was phenomenally cared for. She came in my house, was kind of sad leaving Rebecca, but was very happy. Her vet checked out quite well. But I will say that not only does this offer opportunity for more service dogs and more animals to be homed in loving homes, but she can also teach families the right way to care for an animal, the way she's taught my kids. So I would say she would add an asset to this community.
And can you tell us your name and address?
My name is Caitlin McCarthy. I live at 31 Forest Street here in town.
31
Forest Street.
Forest Street. Thank you. Thank you. Young lady, do you have anything to say?
I don't. I have a kennel license in the town of Carver.
What is your name and address?
Susan Smith, and I live at 22 Williams Drive.
All right, and what would you like to say?
And I have a kennel license in the town of Carver, a hobby kennel license. And Becky's been working with me. She has been coming over when I've had a litter of pups. She has worked with my dogs. She's done wonders. So, and she does a phenomenal job of keeping places clean. So, I highly recommend that she's able to do this too.
What breed of dog do you have?
Golden retrievers, the English cream, the white ones. And I always swear to you when I've come before.
Those are the expensive
that
ones.
I would bring a puppy, I'm sorry. I know, I'm sorry I didn't bring, I almost did bring one today.
Yeah, those buff-colored ones are beautiful.
Yes, the buff-colored ones are beautiful, but I love my white ones.
We have goats.
I have pugs.
I have pictures.
Well, let's do this first. Are we looking at dates?
We usually do them Saturday mornings.
That would work.
What is your, I'm not free this Saturday. I'm free.
I'm not free the next 3 after that.
Are you
I'm
going?
sorry.
I got something the 9th on
gone?
Saturday. The 2nd, I'm available.
9, 16, and 23, you're going?
Where you going? Cups after you?
First we're going skiing and then we're going to get warm.
Oh, nice.
We don't want to drag this out on this lady too far. I got the 2nd
Well, I
and the
mean,
16th.
it's going to the next month anyway, the hearing. We have to have
Well,
another hearing.
you know, I live up the street, so I mean, I'm somewhat familiar with the area. I just haven't walked the particular land.
Well, can we set our next meeting date and then we can probably work around it?
Yeah, we have one new case and then this continued case.
So April, wait a minute, what month are we in? We're in February, never
Yes.
mind.
March is Friday.
March 19th.
And
right?
when, are you gone, Fran?
I am, I'm away the week of the 16th through the 23rd.
So it'll have to be after that.
Okay, so you're just, so you're around,
We're skiing the week before, so I'm not around the 8th, 9th.
okay,
10th.
that's a weekend.
Yep.
I'm good for the 2nd or the 16th. And if the next meeting is the 19th,
Should we set the next meeting date? All right. Do you want to make the meeting date the 19th?
Okay.
You're not here.
I'm not here on the 19th.
1, 2, 3, 4.
do it 26th.
But the 26th, Fran, you here for the 26th?
26th is fine.
Eric?
Yep.
Sharon?
I'm good.
Alan?
Question.
Hold on.
Sorry.
So the 26th would be the next meeting.
Yeah.
Now we have to arrive at an inspection date in advance of that. So,
What about Sunday?
and there's a possibility, yep.
This Sunday?
This coming Sunday?
I'm in
I
church.
can't do it.
No? Okay.
I'm not free on Sundays, I'm in church.
Okay. Well, then why don't you guys go without me? Like I said, I am familiar. You're right on the corner of Home Street, correct? Yep.
So is another date that works for folks around the 26th?
23rd is good for me.
23rd?
What day of the week is
That's a
that?
Saturday.
Eric?
Yep, I'm good.
March 23rd,
Yeah.
and we'll make that at 9 a.m., right?
That work for you?
Does that work for you?
Saturday, the 23rd at 9?
Yep.
Coffee, donuts, bagels, maybe a little eggs and bacon.
Puppies would be
You
good.
guys bring.
Can't have puppies because of the
Puppies would be good.
Okay, so what we'll do is continue this case to March 26th. That will follow an inspection of the property, a site visit on March 23 at 9 a.m. So that when we come back, we'll have eyeballed the property, we'll have a better understanding as to how all of this is going to fit on this lot, in view of the fact that there's a 5-acre minimum requirement, and this property is only 1.2 acres. That's a big difference. So I think Ms. Clark's suggestion that the board
Yeah, I do.
do a site visit is well advised. We're on a roll tonight.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any further questions or comments with regard to this?
Did you have a question, Ms. Flaherty? No? Okay.
Okay, so do I hear a motion to continue this case to March 26th with a site visit to occur on March 23 at 9 a.m.?
So
Make
moved.
that,
I recognize Alan as the primary on this and Ms.
Wow.
Clark the secondary. All in favor?
Aye.
So we now know what's going to happen, right? What's the matter? You look sad. You upset that it's being continued for a little while?
if it was only a 1 acre thing, it'd be no big deal.
You mean
But
if it
this
were
is
a hobby
like-
kennel?
This is like 4 acres of exception, so it's 20 dogs and,
What if I was applying for a hobby license instead?
I'm sorry?
What would the-
Hobby license is 6 to 10. It still has to be 5 acres, but it's 6 to 10. You're limited to 10, and you're limited to the number of litters, I think.
And Ms. Flaherty, let me say this. The fact that we are looking to do a site visit should not be viewed by you as a negative. It should be viewed by you as a positive, because you've grabbed our attention, you've impressed us, and we want to take it to the next level for you,
Yeah, really.
right? We're the guardians of the bylaws in town here, right? So we're the
We wanna see
appellate
it
board,
work.
so it's got to come to us. This is where the buck stops. It's right here. So you're where you need to be, at least for now, and don't take this as a negative. It's just something that we need to do as part of the due diligence that the town of Carver entrusts us with.
But you might go in and speak to Stephen Cole, the planner, because we are just one step of a process. And the second process is a site plan review with the planning board, and that usually takes another 2 or 4 or 6 weeks.
So you want to get going with
They're going to
this.
do a site walk too.
And you want to make sure that Stephen tells you
Mr.
whether or
Cole.
not you're going to need to deal with any conservation. What's in your
Yeah.
backyard?
Cranberry box.
How far is the next cranberry bog?
It's outside the 100 feet.
If it's outside the 100 and there's
Yeah,
no
she had-
wetlands, you're okay.
She had it delineated somewhere,
Yeah,
so.
you probably will be okay there. But just get the ball rolling with them. When we finally make our decision, if it's a positive one for you, you'll have that in your hip pocket. You'll be able to show the planning board, look, we've already been before the ZBA and it was good.
That's
So
right.
there's this process, I know it's annoying and it's frustrating and you're anxious and you want to get this over and done with, but it's going to happen, and it'll happen sooner than you think. Friday is March 1st already. So,
Okay, thank you.
okay? That's better, now you're smiling.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Oh, you're going to show me
I told you,
pictures.
I have pictures.
Look at all those puppies.
How many?
Looks like about
She
7 of
had,
them there.
I think 10 of them.
Holy Moses.
Recently?
The poor thing.
September,
I agree with that.
yeah, the poor thing, yeah.
Poor thing.
Let's see,
One more quick one, and then we have to move on.
I'm just gonna quickly show you my, that's my mail.
Okay.
Yeah, beautiful coat.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for your testimony, too.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
You too now. Put a smile on her face when
I
you get out
will,
there.
I will.
Yep.
Tell her it's not the end, it's just the
I will.
beginning. You're not used to it, it can be very frustrating, the whole process.
I don't
It is.
believe we have any correspondence to address. Does anyone have any issues that they'd like to discuss at this point? Any comments?
I have a comment, if I may. I'm really glad that we dealt with item D on 157 North Main Street in the manner that we dealt with it tonight. I think it was done properly. I think it was the right thing to do. I think this whole issue of having an action before 2 boards at the same time, this is the complication that arises from it. but I think ultimately some good's coming out of it. I think some other more defined bylaws are gonna come from this, so it's gonna make our job as well as the planning board's job maybe a little more harmonious in the future. So I'm happy that this happened the way it happened. I have no problem with the withdrawing with prejudice, but I absolutely am completely against having an action before two boards at the same time. I think it pits the boards against each other, and I think it plays both ends against the middle. And I think this board should be applauded for what they did with this case. My hat's off.
Any other questions or comments at this time? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Good night, everybody. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.